The Cambridgeshire and Peterborough Clinical Commissioning Group is responsible for looking after 830,000 patients from around Cambridgeshire, Huntingdon, Peterborough, Northamptonshire and Hertfordshire, and we've taken on the responsibility of the budget, which is £850 million. The Clinical Commissioning Group is made up of 8 local commissioning groups, and these local commissioning groups are the hub of activity between GPs and patients, thinking about how they can make things better for their patients that they look after.
In this area, we've had a lot of discussion between all the different practices about how we should approach it. And in the area, we have a number of local commissioning groups like CATCH. And in fact, over Cambridge and Peterborough, there are 8 different groups. And after much discussion, it was agreed that we would be best to actually have one overarching clinical commissioning group with a federation of those 8. And that way, you have the local focus when you're designing the care, but that you're able to have an economy of scale that would be really effective when you're actually doing the large-scale contracting and taking a strategic view really of what the whole area needs. And you can afford, because of your economy of scale, some really top management input so that we can be effective.
I think local commissioning groups have given GPs a great opportunity to actually have a say in the services that we get to commission for our patients. Historically, decisions would be made in Peterborough or Cambridge as to what services were needed for our patients, without really having a GP voice helping people understand what those specific local needs were. So having the opportunity to get a voice to the people that make those decisions has been something that's very beneficial for us, working closely with our patient groups, allowing them to have a true voice in the process as well. Patients will continue to get a high standard of care from their local GP practices, and when care is needed outside the GP practice, then that will be provided in a seamless fashion as we hope it has been today. The more visible change for the patients is that they actually have a very strong voice now in determining what those local services look like. We've got patient groups sitting within each of the practices, and a representative from each of those practice groups goes to sit on a patient forum. And they have a very strong voice in determining what decisions we make as an LCG board in terms of what our priorities are for new projects, for commissioning new services.
And I think the biggest change is that the clinicians through the LCGs and ultimately the CCG have been able to start grabbing hold of the reins, and although there's a long way to go, are beginning to grasp the idea that they will be able to dictate the way local health services are provided in the future.
I've seen a greater involvement in determining the future by GPs, and GPs are the people who know us, the patients, best. And they are making things more sensitive and more cost effective. It's very important that patients are involved. Patients need to understand the service they're getting. And the ideas that come out of patients can often be really quite revolutionary, but hadn't been thought of, because when you're delivering a service, you look at it from a different perspective as to when you're receiving a service. In the same way that supermarkets have mystery shoppers, the patients' reference groups should be the mystery shoppers for all the aspects of the NHS, whether it's GP practices or hospitals.
I believe it's crucial for patients to be involved in these future changes, because at the end of the day, the health service is for the patients. It isn't for anybody else. It's a working place for the managers and the clinicians, but the beneficiaries of the whole thing are the patients.
My hope for the Clinical Commissioning Group is that we will really bring together GPs and patients and make real differences and changes to healthcare services.
Again, I hope to see continuing and improving on the patient first sort of idea. For instance, in end-of-life care, a lot of people want to die at home but are being whisked off to hospital unnecessarily. And to be able to rework the system so that people can have the right choice for them and for their carers, the people who love them, that makes it more sensitive for their needs.